Welcome to another DK Custom Products video. I'm Dwayne, this is Kevin. This is going to be a follow-up video for a product Kevin introduced you guys to a few weeks ago, the Wild Ass Seat Cushion. If you're not familiar with what that is, take a look at the video in the corner. We got linked above. And what it is, it's an air cushion. You know, we've all heard of the Airhawk. It's been around for many years now. And recently, Kevin and I met this guy, John Meadows. He's a long distance rider, and he runs the Wild Ass Seat Cushion. If you're going to spend a lot of time on that seat, it needs to be comfortable, and that's the way he found to make it the most comfortable. He introduced us to the product. We introduced you guys to the product, but Kevin's had it now for a few weeks.
Yeah, and I've done 1,300 miles.
All right, so you've put that many miles on it. You've probably put, as you said in the last video, 250,000 miles on, you know, the air cushion we all know, you know,
the
from
Airhawk.
the Airhawk. So the $1 million question is the Wild Ass Seat Cushion better?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes. And here's the Airhawk that I've been running, and then here's the Wild Ass Seat Cushion I've been running. And during my testing, first I just tested this, rode a few hundred miles with this, and I'm going, I think it's better. It feels better. And then I go, well, you know, I want to make sure. So then I had about 300 miles that I did in a day and a half of riding. And what I did is I took both of these with me. And every 50 miles or so, I would pull over and swap them back and forth. And the Wild Ass seat is definitely better.
And having sat on it myself and compared, I also agree it's better. I think we've had also some other unbiased opinions set on it. And I think, you know, undeniably across the board, everybody picked the Wild Ass seat as being a little better. And I know why I think it's better. Why do you think it's better?
Well, I tried to figure out why it's better. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's probably a few reasons. One is you can see the shape is different. They're the same exact width. The back of it's different. The back of it's exactly the same, but the front on the Airhawk goes forward. This one has the cutout right here. So that might have something to do with it. I'm not 100% sure. But then when you look at the bladder, if you go ahead and open up that one, and of course you won't be able to see what we're describing on the video, but here's the bladder, which you can, you know, we looked at in the first thing, in the first video. But this has 14 pockets, 14 different bladders. They're all connected. So when you compress these, the air goes out of these into this one. When you compress these, you can see, you know, as you push one down, then the air from this one goes into a different one. Mm-hmm. And there's 14 different bladders here, and there's 12 here. And you can see that some of these bladders are much larger on this one. So the shape and size of the bladders are different.
Right.
You have the cutout right here that's different. But then I think one of the biggest things that's different is this is a really thin polyurethane.
Mm-hmm. Whereas this, you know, according to Wild Ass Seats, is the medical grade neoprene. And, you know, my presumption when they say medical grade, you know, whenever someone's in a wheelchair or bedridden, you know, you're going to be sitting on something, it has to be good. Yeah. So, I mean, this obviously is what that correlates to. And, you know, I think that this is just more advanced technology. Right. So, I mean, and I say this, you know, coming from when we developed our shocks, we had a goal to beat. Right. So we knew what the best shocks were out there. And we knew, hey, if we're going to make something better, it has to be better. If Airhawk set the bar for air cushions, Wild Ass came along and said, hey, we need to just make it better. And I think that's what they did. I mean, you know, if you bought an Airhawk 10 years ago, it'd be the same design as what you'd buy today. Whereas this is more of an advanced technology. You know, this, you know, the pockets seemed a little more thought out. These are just like gross amounts of air pockets thrown at a cushion. This seems to have a little thought, you know, your butt cheek here. I feel like this is a little more thought out. You know, the contour of the seat up here with the tank, especially on the Harley, I think this just fits it a little better.
And you just pointed something out here. Butt cheek here, and a space right here for your butt crack,
Right.
Whereas this has no space between the bladders where nothing's sitting.
Yeah. So, I mean, in short, this one's a little better thought out with better material. It's just going to be a better product.
Yeah. So in the testing, this is definitely better.
Yeah.
But the question is, why is it better? And so as we started researching it, we saw that it's a different material.
Yeah.
I think that it seems like when you push down on one of these, it takes longer for the air to transfer to one of these. Yeah. So when you sit on this and you move, you can feel it go flat in one area and really pump up in the other.
Right.
Whereas this feels like you're sort of stably floating the whole time, even when you're moving.
And the very first thought I had when I sat on them, just for the short time I sat on them, I felt like with the Wild Ass, you're kind of sitting in the air pockets, whereas with the Air Hawk, you're sitting on the air bubble. So it's a lot like the air mattress feel. You know, when you try to sleep on an air mattress, you know, especially if you're sleeping with someone else, they'll move and it'll shift the air this way and that way. That doesn't happen with this. This very much mimics like a memory foam situation. You know, to be fair, this is the premium Wild Ass product. Right. You know, they do have lower tiers that are around the same price point as the Air Hawk, which is around the $100. These are up around $250, but it is a much better quality product.
Right.
And so I'm sure that if we tried out their lower tier, it would be on par with the Air Hawk. So we're not saying Wild Ass's brand overall is better than the Air Hawk, but this particular product is better than the Air Hawks that are, in the $100 range.
And you bring up a good thing. Wild Ass makes 4 different sizes. Yeah. We'll go over those in a minute. They have 3 different grades. The neoprene, the polyurethane, which is the same as the Air Hawk, the polyurethane, and it's less than half the price. The Wild Ass seat with the polyurethane is less than half the price. And while we haven't tested it, we did talk to the people at Wild Ass, and it is on par with the Air Hawk.
Yeah, sure.
The polyurethane. So that's not one that we would recommend. It's not. After riding with this, we would never ride on a polyurethane one again, whether it was an Air Hawk or a Wild Ass seat.
Right. Now, if it's within your budget, that's the only thing you can get, yeah, it's better than nothing, absolutely. But it's not going to be as good as the premium Wild Ass product.
Right. Then they have a third option, and that is a polyurethane bladder with gel. Mm-hmm. Now, down where we live and where a lot of people live, we do not recommend the gel. Oh. The reason why is when gel gets heated up, it's going to stay hot. It's going to burn your ass when you sit on it, and it's going to hold that heat for quite a while.
Right. Conversely, and the other side of the coin, if it's cold outside, it's going to be cold.
It's going to be sitting like on an ice cube. And it's going to stay cold. That gel holds the cold. So a lot of people like the gel. We don't use the gel, but if a person lived in a moderate climate where it doesn't get really hot, doesn't get really cold, then, or if they keep their bike in a climate-controlled area and they never park it out in the sun or out in the cold, then the gel, is definitely an option to use. But this is what I will be using on a going forward basis.
Yeah. Now, a couple thoughts just holding this product in hand, just to add to everything. The material is very breathable. It's just like, mesh jackets that we wear out and kind of let it dissipate some heat, not trap a lot of heat. But the bottom side, the material, I'm not sure exactly what it is, very sticky vinyl-like material. So it's going to grip and stick to your vinyl seat or leather seat very well. But it also has a little provisions here, like little belt loops for the strap. I know you don't run the straps, right? No. I've seen Kevin run the Air Hawk on the sprung solo seat of the Sportster, and it just doesn't come off.
Yeah, so I just run it, whether I'm running a sheepskin over it or like on the Softail or the Sporty where I don't run a sheepskin, I just put that on there. It doesn't move around. Now, if you stand up while you're riding, the air is going to catch it and blow it off. So if I was doing a lot of riding where I would stand up while I was riding, I would use the straps to keep it in place.
Yeah.
And I know other people have put Velcro on here, and then they put Velcro on their seat, and they Velcro it to the seat rather than using the straps.
Right.
So, but I don't use the straps, but it does come with straps if you wanted to do that. These come in 4 different sizes.
Right. This particular one's 15.5 inches wide, and then it's 14 inches long. So, I mean, but it also, contours to the shape of your seat. So I don't think any size is going to be obstructive to like your legs or your saddle area. I mean, they're so soft that, if your seat's not too wide, this isn't going to make it too wide.
And I think this is called the Smart design. And then they have one that's called the Saddle. And it is 13 inches by 11.5 inches. So it's a little bit smaller. So it might be something that you would use, on a soft tail or something like that. You can measure your seat and see.
And then, of course, they have the sport version, which is 12.5 by 12.5. So it's a more narrow, sporty design. And they also offer a passenger pillion that's 11.5 by 9 inches long. So, get your passenger just as happy as you are.
So they have 4 different sizes. They have 3 different styles. We do not recommend the cheap Wild Ass seat. It's no different than the Airhawk. And like Dwayne said, if it's all your budget can afford, it's better than nothing.
That's right.
But when you go from one to the other, this is just hugely better.
Like we always say, if you guys watch any of our videos for any amount of time, we always say we don't offer anything on our website that we wouldn't run on our own bikes. So we don't offer the lower tier Wild Ass cushions. We do offer the premium one now, so you can find it on our website, and we'll put a link to that in the description below. Now, we don't carry everything that we run on our bikes, but a lot of products, we're not going to offer it to you guys if we wouldn't run it ourselves.
So, and not only that, the premium one, and then also the gel one, but don't get the gel. If you end up blistering your ass or freezing your balls, we don't want you to come to us and say, hey,
Right.
We're telling you right up front, if you live in any kind of extreme temperatures, the gel is not the way to go, because it just absorbs that heat or cold and it holds it. I mean,
that's right.
You take a cold, and I fiddled around with gel pads years and years ago. And when those things get cold, it literally takes about an hour before it gets back to body temperature.
Now, those of you that may have a gel seat or something like that, don't just assume we're over exaggerating, because this isn't the same as gel embedded in your seat. This is very breathable material, so gel will resonate the cold or the heat much easier than it would from like a seat.
So I mentioned in the previous video that I would be doing an iron button testing on that. I did not do the iron butt yet. That got postponed for a while. But I did do a lot of riding over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and it's absolutely a better seat. I give it a thumbs up and not hesitate to recommend it at all. And this is my go-to now.
All right, so if you guys have any questions at all about anything you've seen in this video or about getting your hands on one of these Wild Ass seats, check out our website, dkcustomproducts.com, or shoot us an email, support@dkcustomproducts.com, or even better, give us a call, 662-252-8828. We have an entire customer service team ready to help you out.
You all ride safe out there.